So 513 chapters and 56, almost 57 volumes into the series Bleach, and we've amassed quite a few long-standing questions that need some answers. Some of them we might be getting a little closer to having some answers, and some of them may still be a while off yet. And some of them actually might not be that long-standing. Some questions that might have just recently popped up that, might play a really quite a large part in at least some characters' stories. So today, this video I'm bringing you is going to be theories not just about the Thousand Year Blood War arc, but about those long-standing questions in Bleach. And I hope you will join me in some theories in the comments below. First though, just a little housekeeping. Please subscribe to my videos. We're so close to 100 subscribers. And that is a big deal for me, who, has only just started, and really, it's a milestone that I didn't think I would reach, quite frankly, this soon. And I'd like to thank all of you who have already subscribed, all of you who show your support in the comments below, all of you who show your support just by giving it a thumbs up every week, every review. Really means a lot to me, and I can't really express it enough. Also, don't forget, follow me on Twitter, automatic updates when my videos come out, and we're just gonna have some fun with this. So, without further ado, let's get on with the video, because it's probably gonna be a little bit long. So, my first overarching theory, the first question I want to answer is Ichigo's birth and his parentage. Now, in the repeat and reboot Omake series that Kubo did over 3 weeks before chapter 480 was released, he talked about in an interview Ichigo's birth, how it was special, and how he would like to incorporate it into the story somehow. With the recent release of Bleach 513, Ichigo has shown the ability to use Blue Veen. This might not mean anything, but it's highly speculated that his mother, the late Masaki Kurosaki, was actually a Quincy. So I've got a couple of theories on this. I'd like her to be a Quincy. I think it would bring her back into the plot, bring her relevant again. Kubo also said something about the truth behind her death. Because Grand Fisher killed her, as far as we know. But maybe there's more to it than that. Grand Fisher referred to Ichigo, I think, as a Shinketsu, which means the true blood. Because this is when he was speaking to Isshin, and he laid eyes on Isshin being a Shinigami. He was like, so Ichigo must be a true blood then. What does that mean? Does it mean Masaki? Does Grand Fisher know something about Masaki as well? If Ichigo's entire family is this, spiritually aware, with a lot of spiritual disposition, both his parents are part of the spiritual races. Maybe Grand Fisher was alluding to that. How does Grand Fisher even know? Maybe because he killed Masaki, and he could maybe when he ate Masaki, he could tell that she had Quincy Reiatsu or something. But I'm going off on a tangent a little bit. My theories about Masaki being a Quincy. One of the nice ones I've heard is that. Well, actually, let's start with one of the ones that I don't think so good. I've heard theories flying around that Hashvald, the blonde Sturmritter who seems to be in charge of the Sturmritter, is maybe her brother, Ichigo's uncle. Because of the faces he made in this chapter, he looked pained, he looked reluctant to do anything to Ichigo, he didn't like what Bark was doing. Maybe that's true, I don't really know though, it wouldn't make much sense. Why is she called Masaki and he's got a German name? That doesn't really, unless he's changed his name, that doesn't really make too much sense in my eyes. I personally prefer the theory of Ryuken being Masaki's brother. That would explain that despite the fact that Isshin is a Shinigami and Ryuken is a Quincy, they're actually quite good friends. And it would also make Iryu and Ichigo cousins, which would be kind of weird, but really, the thing that theory brings is quite a lot comes with it. So, Masaki could have been killed by a Shinigami, perhaps. Maybe a Shinigami could have lured Grand Fisher there or something, as part of the Quincy extermination plan, and then that made Ryuken not want Uryu to become a Quincy, and not want Uryu to, associate himself with Ichigo. I'm just saying, it's feasible, that's the main point, it's feasible. So in order to make this video not too long, let's move quickly on to the next overarching theory. Sorry for the lighting as well, I came home this weekend from uni and foolishly forgot to bring my fancy webcam with me, so, just bear with it. Isshin theories. So we've seen him a couple of times in Shinigami Regalia. He has normal kimono, but with a strange shoulder pad on with a Captain's Hayori hanging from it in such a way that you can't see the division. In a way, it wouldn't surprise me if the Hayori was eventually revealed to have the insignia of the Royal Guard on it, which if you look at Bleach Wiki there is actually a picture depicting it. It's the Gote 13's diamond, but with kanji in it instead of just a number. And really, Isshin, he could be a member of the Royal Guard. There's nothing to say he isn't. He's obviously learned his version of the final gets attention and how to use it on someone. A lot of people speculated that might have been Ginjo back in the day, but I'm not sure that's going to be the case anymore. But Isshin, he could be a Royal Guard member. We need another term about the pendulum. In his repeat and reboot, makes Kubo mention that Isshin didn't return to the Soul Society with Urahara because it would reveal certain things to the Shinigami that he wouldn't want revealing. Perhaps the fact that he's even alive. The thing I don't really understand is, if Isshin is an important figure in Soul Society, why didn't they recognise the name Kurosaki? Why didn't Genryusai recognise the name Kurosaki? Shinsui, Unohana, Ukitake. Maybe sorry, I just heard a weird noise outside. Maybe Isshin. See, look, we're venturing into crack theories here, but maybe Isshin changed his name. Maybe he was Isshin Shiba. That's a theory that's floating around. That Isshin is a Shiba. Because we don't know anything about the fall of the Shiba clan either. How do we know that Isshin wasn't a Shiba? And when he eloped off with a Quincy, Masaki, the Shiba clan fell into ruin. You know? But then surely Kukaku and Ganju would know the name Kurosaki. So really, because they might, have realised that Isshin... Although, actually, no, I quite like this theory, because that would make sense as to why Ichigo and Kaien look similar. If Isshin was part of the Shiba family. That's good, let's hold on to that one. The next theory, the bodies in Szayel's laboratory. I think it sort of looks like Dordoni and Saruchi, the two Privaron Espada, and you have to remember that the Exequius was sent out by Szayel to harvest the information of the defeated Privaron Espada, so that makes the most sense. As for why he did that, I don't really know. As for why it was so important back in the day, I don't really know. However, it could somehow relate to the Bankai stealing ability that the Vandenreich have at the moment. Because remember, Szayel could nullify a Bankai in his chamber. So maybe the Vandenreich, when taking over Heikemundo, somehow got this information from Szayel's lab and used it in the medallions somehow. The Szayel's lab one is weird because it could really be anyone. It makes the most sense, I think, to be Saruchi and Dordoni. However, I think it'd be more exciting if it was maybe like a couple of Royal Guard members, but that wouldn't make... I don't really know how that would make sense. Moving on to the fourth one. Returning Espada in the final arc. Harabel's already back. Nell's already back. What about Grimjo? This takes me straight into the next question. Who killed Quillgate? Now, I'm sure, as you all know, at the end of chapter 500, there was the massive cliffhanger. Quillgate was about to kill Chad and Orihime. Urahara, for some reason, couldn't do anything, and he was like, wait! And then suddenly, out of nowhere, Quillgate is cut in half, and someone blitzes up to Urahara and holds their sword to his face. And Urahara goes, oh no! And that's where the chapter ends. We haven't seen anything else, apart from the fact that Urahara's phone was disconnected to Ichigo. Nothing else has been said. So, the theories have been really flying around with this one. And, the biggest speculated perpetrator is Grimjo. I'm a backer of this theory. I've heard a lot of other theories, like Aizen, because Juha Bark released him from prison, and in that timeline he was able to kill Kirge, and then it went back and was Genryusai fighting Juha Bark. Makes absolutely no sense. It's too short a time frame. You'd have to do some really weird, sort of almost retconning to fit it into the time scale. Grimjo makes the most sense. He's not going to like Quincy, because no one likes Quincy. Quincy are everyone's enemies. He was last seen in Huecamundo. He was spared by Ichigo. We already know that Grumio has a twisted sense of honour. He repaid Orihime for healing his arm. Admittedly, he wanted a favour after that, but he still repaid her. So maybe by killing a Quincy and saving Urahara and Orihime and Chad, this is Grumio's way of repaying Ichigo for saving his life. And I've heard a lot of arguments saying, well, Grumio's not strong enough to take down Quillge. Rubbish! Grumio was the 6th most powerful Arrancar in terms of Reiatsu before Yami became the Zero. And Quillge, albeit it was extremely powerful, he was on his last legs. They use Ranso Tengai when they're at death's door. They have to keep themselves moving like a puppet to survive. Quillge's already been known to have a couple of instances where he's not particularly good at defending himself from the back, from when Alon punched him to when Ichigo attacked him, and now someone else has attacked him. He's very focused on what happens ahead of him, and he got attacked from behind. He was weak, he was dying, there was blood pouring out of his chest. No reason why it couldn't have been Grumio. A lot of people could have taken Quillge out in that situation, you know? And there's no reason why Grumio couldn't have been training for 2 years anyway. Maybe even acquired Segunda Etapa. It seems like the sort of thing Kubo would do if he does introduce Grumio back into the story. On to the next long-standing question. What is the Spirit King, and why haven't the Royal Guard appeared before this? Obviously, we don't know anything about the Spirit King, really, apart from he's a figurehead and no one's ever seen him. Apart from the Royal Guard. Now, Aizen and Urahara have both seen him. How the hell have they both seen him? So this is interesting, because they must have somehow got into the Royal Realm. It's, how... There's so much mystery behind the Spirit King. We literally don't know anything. We're 513 chapters in. Aizen and Urahara both refer to him as an it. So it could maybe be an animal, or it could be an inanimate object. It could be a friggin' Hogyoku for all we know. So the Spirit King is very difficult to ascertain. I mean, I think Ichigo could potentially be royalty. That could be another explanation between how he has an amalgamation of powers. But as for why the Royal Guard have not arrived yet in the storyline, it's because no one's messed with the Royal Realm. Aizen didn't make it to the Royal Realm, and the Royal Guard aren't going to step in. They're like, why you Soul Gotei 13 messed up? But the thing is, no one in the Gotei 13 was killed either. That's why they never stepped in. Now, shit's going down. Gemisei Yamamoto's been cut in half and blown away. He's no longer alive. Byakuya Kuchiki's dying, dead. The captains are outmatched. So the Royal Guard have to step in, if just to rebuild Soul Society, because they're basically all that's left. Most of the Shinigami beneath maybe 3rd seat, apart from obviously the exceptional ones like Yumichika, are dead. There are hardly any Shinigami left. So, the Royal Guard, they're going to come in soon. I'm pretty sure we're actually on the cusp of their arrival, to be honest, because Ichigo's sort of stalling Bark. Bark wants out of there because he hasn't got a plan to deal with the Royal Guard just yet. And Ichigo's stalling him, so I do think they'll be in maybe the next 5 chapters almost. On to the next theory. What role will Fullbring play? A lot of people didn't like the Lost Agent arc. I quite liked it. I thought it was, really well told, even if it was a little bit boring in parts, and if the powers and character designs were a little bit on the lame side. No one liked the dollhouse part. I didn't like it. Oh, it was crap. But, I did love the sense of mystery. I loved how everything was set at night time. I loved Ginjo and Tsukishima. I thought they were awesome characters. So I do think Fullbring will have a role to play. I think Kubo, because, Ginjo was the first substitute Shinigami. You can't just brush that under the rug. Ginjo will probably be part of a Turn Back the Pendulum, I think. And Ginjo must have some interest in Isshin, otherwise he would not have brought it up. I know he said it was just a way of getting Ichigo's attention. Bullcrap. I think there must be more to it than that. And if there is not, then that's kind of a letdown, because Ginjo was going on about at the beginning of the Lost Agent arc, you don't know anything about your family, not yet. And then nothing ever came of it, which is a disappointment. But, I think this is the arc where things will start to come of it. Fullbring, however, is interesting because, as we've seen with the humans who use Fullbring, apart from the exceptionals like Tsukishima and Ginjo, they can't really compete on a captain-level scale. However, I think if maybe the Vandenreich Soldat begin to attack the real world at any point, Fullbringers like Yukio, Riruka, Mo, and maybe even Jackie, if she just returns to melee fight, will be able to counter the Soldat in terms of power. But also, when Ichigo was in Quillge's cage, he was definitely using Fullbring. The Bringer Light was coming past him. So, does this mean that Ichigo Fullbringed Quillge's Reiatsu and gained the ability to use Blute Veen? Maybe his mum's not Quincy at all. I do think there's room left for Fullbring in the story. I mean, people have speculated that even the Quincy are somehow using Fullbring to, because that's what they do. They pull a weapon out of their crosses. But the thing with the difference is the cross in Ginjo's necklace actually transforms. I don't think it does with the Quincy, does it? They just sort of take it out. So, it's similar. But maybe they'll use Fullbring to release the captured Bankai, because, they could pull the soul of the Bankai out of the disc, So I think Fullbring's got a role left to play. And we're 16 minutes in, so now I'm going to start speeding this up a little bit. Aizen's role in the future. The dude is in prison, he has practically no power, and yet Ju Harbach still asked him to join his team. So, Aizen clearly knows a lot of what's going on. Kubo said he will return, he wants to draw him in restraints at least, so maybe he won't even get out of prison, but I'm pretty sure he will. If he does return, he will probably be aiding Soul Society, because he doesn't want Soul Society to be destroyed. He never has, he just wants to rule Soul Society, and then it'll be a backstab. Because he's not going to be a good guy, simple as that. Or he'll help Ju Harbach and then backstab him. Whatever happens, Aizen's going to backstab someone, because that's what he does. I'd love to see Aizen again, absolutely love to see him. Because there's so many questions that he needs to answer. And finally, the future of Soul Society after the invasion. This is the short-term one I was talking about. Who's going to be the new Captain Commander, now that Yamamoto's dead? Most likely, I'd say, is Unohana. Shunsui is, too aloof. He's too flighty to be the Captain Commander. Ukitake, I think, possibly does have good leadership skills, and he does know how to keep his head in a crisis, but his illness really sets him back. Although Kubo has hinted at Ukitake recovering from his illness and the repeat and reboot makes. But I still think Unohana's the best choice, unless the Royal Guard come in and assign someone. It could be interesting, though, just to see how the Gotei does change after this, because they could get someone in as the Captain Commander who we'd never met before, like from the Royal Guard, who's completely different to Genryusai, who's like, the substitute Shinigami has no place being here, and he, just changes everything that we've come to know. Also, rebuilding the First Division, it's been completely obliterated, no captain, no vice captain, and basically no Shinigami left in the First Division, so really, a lot of the divisions are being decimated. Most Stoneritter are taking on the captain and the division at the same time, like we've seen with Bambietta Bastabine, and, it really just begs the question, where is Kubo going with this? How badly is Soul Society going to be destroyed? And the final part I'm going to bring up is, will Renji and Rukia get revenge on As-Not, who killed Byakuya? I would absolutely love to see it, although I'm sort of growing towards more seeing Renji do it, because it's a little cliche, but he has always wanted to surpass Byakuya, and killing his murderer would be the perfect way to do it. I just can't wait to see Rukia's reaction to Byakuya. I also think As not still alive. But anyway, those are the theories that I have for some of the overarching, long-standing questions in Bleach. What about you? What do you think of the what do you think of the topics? What do you think of the questions we've got? How do you think the series is going to unfold? Leave me a comment below, let me know, and don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Just, have fun discussing. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that Aizen will come back? Do you think Renji and Rukia will fight As not? Is Ichigo's mama Quincy? Will Fullbring do anything? I'll post the topics that I covered in the description, so, let me know what you think, and I will catch you on Wednesday for a Bleach and Naruto review. See you then.